Hey everyone, welcome back to our second interview with Jenna Evans Welch, where today we're going to be talking about marketing strategies. I'm Carly Dalton, and with me is Brooke Klontz, and our goal is to equip you with the tools you need to be a successful writer. So, Jenna, what is the importance of marketing even when you have a traditional publisher?
It is so important. Okay. This is something really interesting that I have seen in the industry, where I have heard writers say, I've heard them give this advice to each other, and it's made me just cringe, where they've said, oh, writing is my job, marketing is my publisher's job. It's not a good idea. Even if you're with a traditional publisher, there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes that you have absolutely no control over. To be honest, you don't even really know much of what is going on. It's pretty, I don't know why, but it's pretty behind the scenes. So publishers are putting out a ton of books, and it makes sense for them to put most of their resources into a few books because that's how they make a lot of money. So if you don't happen to be one of those few books, you may get some support and you may not get a lot. I've heard of writers who sold their books for giant amounts of money, crazy amounts of money, and then received no marketing and their books just kind of vanished. I've seen opposite too, where books just started to pick up their own little bit of steam and publishers got excited and they had a big marketing push. There's also things going on where you may have like an editor who is like going to bat for you basically in the publishing world. Maybe they leave or, something comes up. I've had several changes in my publishing family basically this year, like very, very big ones that have changed a lot of my career. And none of them were under my control. So I think there's a lot about publishing books that are just not under your control, but marketing's not one of them, right? I think it's really important that you put your attention and your focus into putting your book out there. If you don't care how many books you sell, then you don't need to worry about that. If you do care, then you should probably worry about it. There's my soapbox. I've told this to several authors. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know how many you've sold? Or what do you like? And I wouldn't say that I'm the greatest at publishing. I'm limited as far as my time and, how much attention I can put on it for right now. But, absolutely, it's important for me to be doing as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, for sure. What strategies for content creation would you recommend for authors to build their accounts?
Brooke, you're doing an amazing job. Your account is fantastic. I think you would be much better to explain these things. Something that was important for me is when I was first starting. So I have two kiddos, one of them has special needs, and we have a pretty extreme family life, right? Like our life is pretty crazy at home. And I was overwhelmed. I was like, it would be really easy for me to not be writing at all, right? Like I feel like I have a full-time life in parenting and writing could be a full-time life. So I've had to decide like how much can I do in writing and marketing. And I had a really good discussion with the marketing director, with my publisher, and they said, what can you do and what do you think you should focus on? Because when I was starting, I thought, well, I need to be doing Twitter. And there's a lot of YA that's on Twitter. I need to be doing Facebook. I need to be doing Instagram. I need to be doing a newsletter. I need my website. It was like, I need to do all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, what will you actually do? What can you commit to publishing regularly on, maintaining? Because the worst thing you can do is have something that looks like it's outdated and not being maintained because it looks like you've sort of stepped away from the game, which nobody look at my website right now because that's exactly the state that it's in right now. So I chose Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram is a space that I feel like is really positive. I didn't love what I saw on Twitter as far as the book world. But I love Instagram. There's a really great bookstagram world, as you guys know. Felt really positive. I love interacting with people on there. I feel like I get a lot of feedback and it's something that I genuinely enjoy. And so once I turned all of my attention to that, I started to see a good growth. I don't have a giant Instagram following, but I do have a really active following. I feel like they are real followers who truly connect with me. They're people that I talk to and who, I did a book signing kind of virtually where people could send in requests for books to our local the King's English, our local bookstore. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know these names. Like they're my Instagram people. It was so fun that they had written in, and they're people who I feel like I actually know and who I know will truly buy my books. So I think really focusing in on something that you enjoy and that you truly will connect with. I also think that being authentic is a really big deal.
Yeah.
I struggled for a long time feeling like, oh, I'm just talking about my books again. Like I was always apologizing to like my real friends, right? Like you're going to hate following me. I'm just always on there. Like here I am being an author. They always tell me like, I don't feel that way at all. Like I'm genuinely interested in what you're doing. I'm genuinely excited for your successes. I think being really real about it, not sounding like you're just selling. I show the messy parts of my writing life. I've shown pictures of like my desk in the middle of pandemic parenting, plus trying to finish a book, plus trying to like, okay, you see my background here. Like there was a like 6-week period when everything else was trashed. This was like the one clean area of my life. And I like showed that, like, this is what you're seeing on screen, but what is actually going on is all of this because I'm struggling to be a human like everybody else.
I love about your account too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So I think like being authentic and also like not worrying about being too salesy. I don't think you have to worry very much about that. That took me a couple of years to figure out, but I think people are excited about us writing books. It's really sweet to see the amount of support that comes out. I'm always surprised by it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. What do you have to say to writers who have like self-published their books and are trying to get people to buy them? Like, do you ever get messages from writers just pitching their books to you?
I get requests for blurbs, author blurbs, which is not something that I have time for right now. So I generally don't do that. I do occasionally get messages asking me to read books. If it's through a traditional publisher, usually they'll reach out to my agent. If my agent thinks it's something I'm interested in, she'll ask me. She actually told me that I'm the author that gets the most out of anyone she
really
represents, which was really interesting. I think it has to do with just like YA, what I write. I've gotten a few that were a turn off. I will tell you that from independent. I actually got one last weekend that was like, will you read my book? I need you to tell me within 48 hours. Here, it was like, I was like, no, like I won't do that.
I get those all the time and I just block them. Like,
yeah, it's a pretty big thing to ask someone to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think like a kinder and maybe more patient sort of approach would probably go better. But I mean, when you ask about independent publishing, do you guys know who Abby Emmons is?
Yes, I have her on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay, I have not read her book, but so I am constantly seeing her book ranked like next to mine on Amazon lists as far as sales. So her book is selling like, it's selling. And I think that she has built a really good following, I think in a similar way that you guys are doing as far as like just providing really good content for writers. So, I mean, I think what you guys are doing is pretty incredible, providing like genuinely helpful content and then also just forming a community. I think that goes so far in the publishing world, just getting to know people and just starting to, I don't know, have people that you can ask questions to. Yeah, the online community can be a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. Another question, actually, I would really like for you to get to, because I think you've nailed this pretty well, is finding your target audience.
Yes.
I noticed you made a post the other day about clean young adult fantasy or clean young adult romance was what you targeted. I would love to hear about why you chose that.
Yeah. So Amazon does these funny lists, where it'll be like I saw it. It was like #1 bestseller in Valentine's Day rodent fiction or something. And it was like a book about a mouse on Valentine's Day. So they have these like funny lists that you're like, what category is this? And occasionally I've seen them actually like spoil a book, which is hilarious, like give away the ending.
Mm-hmm.
But mine will very often fall into young adult, clean and wholesome romance, which teenage me would have been so grossed out by. Like that, I would not have been interested in that. But I really try to think about the kind of books that I was looking for at that age, right? So when I was like 12 years old, the YA market was not awesome. I felt like everything turned into, it went from like Matilda, like, you know, these incredible adventures, Harriet the Spy. Um,
Yep.
and suddenly it was just about like cheerleaders and boys. And I was like, ugh, really? Like, that's it? Like, that's all I have to look forward to? Like, I like boys. I like, you know, cheerleaders are okay, but I wanted like adventure, and I wanted like kissing, but just like a little bit of kissing, right? I wasn't ready for like the full adult books, which is what I ended up reading because there just wasn't YA for me. So honestly, for me, I try to think about what I wanted to read at that age. Like, I am truly writing for teenage Jenna. um, and it's been interesting though, because I think you don't always know your target audience. I actually have a lot of adult readers, and I know that because of my ebook sales, because teenagers don't buy ebooks, and mine have always been strong. So I think sometimes you don't always know. Like, I think it's a good idea to like target who you want to write for and have a clear idea of who this book is for. I've heard other writers who have run into problems where they've had an editor say something like, who is this book for? I can't tell if this is for a kid, if it's for a teenager, who it's, right? Like, I think it's really important to like get in your mind who you want to be writing for. And then if the book finds other people, it'll find other people.
Yeah, I think that's like the one strength of YA too, is that it appeals to so many more people than just young adults too.
Yeah,
I totally
definitely.
read YA.
Yeah. Yes. I
I'm
love reading
30
YA.
and I read YA, and I
Mm-hmm.
won't be ashamed to admit
Right.
it.
We're down to about 2 more minutes, so one more question.
Sure. One question I thought was really good is how do you get more reviews?
Yeah, that is a good question. So asking for reviews is really an easy thing to do. People want to support you, and saying, here is a great way to support me. I've seen so many authors do that. I've seen like very, very big popular authors do that, and I think it has really worked for them. When I was publishing my first book, so reviews are a big deal, right? You want as many reviews as possible up on Goodreads and sites like Amazon. I've noticed Barnes and Noble doesn't ever have many, no matter what I mean, maybe there's a few books that have a lot, but not many. So with my first book, I remember I did like a review train, basically. So I had like, I think I had like 10 early copies, and I had all these people who were interested in reading it because it's my first book, and they were sweet and they were supporting me. So I basically sent them a book, and with an address of the next person I wanted them to send it to. So they could read it for a couple of days and then send it to the next person. And then I asked them that they would post a review as soon as possible. So I think asking a few people to do it, people are generally excited about it. I know people also will do some kind of like incentive, like I'll send you I don't know, something for a review. But I think you do want to be careful about it too, because sometimes you can see that someone has
Bribed them.
yeah. Have you ever seen books that look like that? You're like, this was some part of a contest or something. Like, how these reviews don't seem accurate. So anyway, I think that, you know, a few good reviews to get you started could be really helpful. And then hopefully the book will start to pick up its own steam.
Cool. Well, thank you, Jenna. We appreciate you answering all of our questions. Don't forget, everyone, to check out Jenna's newest book, Love and Olives, and like, comment, share, subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit the ring button so that you're notified whenever our next video is up. And we're so grateful for you guys. Thanks for watching.